Disclaimer before we begin, I only drew 6 of the 12 signs in this video, so sorry if I didn't include your sign, but stick around for my next astrology drawing video and I should have covered them all by then. When I told my brother I was drawing Virgo, he asked what it was, and when I told him it was represented by the Virgin, he said I should have drawn the Virgin guy from the Virgin and Chad memes, the one who's wearing a gray sweater and looking down and walking behind like the Chad guy. I thought that was hilarious, but I'd already drawn Virgo, so a missed opportunity from me. Even though I thought that was hilarious, I am really not that happy with this piece. I just feel like the shape could be a lot stronger. It's just this weird skinny triangle. I feel like it doesn't have a lot of character, and the clothes I used as a reference just didn't really translate to a drawing. You don't really get the sheerness of it. That said, I still really enjoyed making it, which was weird. I feel like the pieces that I was happiest with were actually the ones I didn't have that much fun making, and then this piece, which I really don't like, I did have a lot of fun making. So I don't know what was up with that, but maybe it's because I put less brain power into this or something. This is the first full human body I've drawn in a while. I didn't use a reference for it, and that I regret because I think I would have really benefited, but it was also kind of nice to just go for it. I decided I'm going to also include a ranking system in this video because I like it when people rank things, even if they're completely unnecessary. I'm going to rank them first on how much I just like my own drawing, because I was doing that as I went anyway, and I might as well make it official. And I'll also rank it in terms of how much I quote-unquote like the sign. This is not going to be too serious, considering I'm not an astrology expert by any means, and I honestly don't believe in astrology that much either. So it's not going to be like how much I would like someone if they were the sign, more like how much I would like each of the signs if their descriptions were descriptions of the complete personality of someone who really existed. If I were to rank this in terms of how much I like this drawing, it would be near the bottom. Like I said, I'm just not that happy with the proportions, the shape language. I like the flowers and the braid, but I feel like there's just not that much else. In terms of how much I like the sign, I mean, as a fellow Earth sign, I've got to give Virgo a few points, so I'll start it off near the top. Next up is Pisces. I would say this is probably my favorite piece. It's either this or Leo, because this just really fits the whole magical starry sky look. I really like the sign of Pisces, or at least the visuals of it in general. They're just a couple of fishes. I like how Pisces is a water sign because fish, and I'm really surprised to find that Aquarius isn't a water sign. Like, just from that name, know your place, Aquarius. It could have been a crab, 2 fishes, and a water bearer as the water sign squad, so I just think that's a missed opportunity for whoever's creating the zodiac. Thousands of years of ancestors. What a shame. But yeah, I chose to draw koi for this. I'm really happy with what I did to the fins. It did not look right at all before I added the little separations between segments of fin, and I'm not sure if that is correct. Like, I don't think that happens with their fins in real life, but I still think it looks really great afterwards, and it was really satisfying to draw, so that's always a plus. Another part of this I really like is that I gave the orange blotches kind of a painterly fade out. Before this piece, I think I had been thinking of doing cell shading for this series, but after playing around with more opacity, I really liked this look, so I kind of continued this way for the later pieces. Compared to Virgo, I think I do like this sign's personality a little more, just because they're gentle and creative, and who doesn't like people who are like that? I think I also really like people who are like that, and I guess this is my personal ranking, so I would put them above without anything against Virgo. Next, this is going to be Leo. Honestly, I do feel like people with summer birthdays are a little different though. As someone born in January, you know, surviving that first cold winter after my birth, I feel like if you haven't gone through that, if you were just born in like the summer and everything was nice, then it's different, I've got to say. Birthdays are weird though. Like, did you know that Christmas Day is the least common day for birthdays, at least in the US? I don't know how that works because the days around Christmas have normal birth rates, so it's like you can't really hold it in or, push it back to the next day. I don't know how that happens. Maybe a hospital thing? Comment below if you know why so few people are born on Christmas Day. I wonder what it's like to be an introvert Leo, because the description for this sign and a few others really focuses on how outgoing and fiery their personalities are. And as an introvert myself, I feel like if I was described to be this way by anyone, I would be like, okay, you have no idea what you're talking about. So I wonder if there's like a correlation between what your personality is like and what your sign is described as, and if your sign's description is not at all accurate to you, then it'll make you like not at all interested in astrology. Even when I read a description of a sign for a specific person and it doesn't really fit them, I'm like, oh my god, this is so boring. I hate this. I'm gonna do something else. Anyway, here I continue on with this very Gryffindor-y looking drawing. I do like it against this red backdrop, but this is the point when I realize it might be nicer to have them all on the same color background, especially with Virgo. I did not like that green on green. I figured I could just stick with a dark blue background, maybe a little purplish or a little greenish, but still blue for all of them. Drawing-wise, this is my favorite after Pisces. I do really like how it turned out, but some parts, like the stomach, just look a little bit weird. It was also really stressful to draw since the colors weren't working for so long. For this piece, I did like 3 or 4 different shadow and highlight layers each, versus for other pieces, I usually did a maximum of 2. So I was really struggling with this for a while, but I guess it was all for the best in the end. Personality-wise, though, this sign I think would go lower. What can I say? I am a Capricorn. I just don't vibe with this kind of personality. Only in theory, though. I do know some people who are Leos, and I think they're great. Now we get to Capricorn, which is my sign and also the first one that I drew. Because it's the first one I drew, I have to say I'm not super happy with how it turned out, just because it started as a doodle and I didn't really know what style I was going for, didn't really use references. And even after I went back and tried to spruce things up a little bit after I was done with the other 6, it didn't look great to me. But here we are. I think, and have been told, that I fit this sign's description pretty well. Like, really well, actually. My birth chart, my whole birth chart, honestly, I think fits me really well. I don't know if it's confirmation bias, or if knowing what my sign has been has made me try to act more like it. But yeah, I feel like I know a lot of people who don't fit their signs at all, but I really fit mine. Yeah, it didn't turn out great, but first one, and I didn't spend very much time on it, so it's alright. I've got to put this last on the drawing list, though. To balance that out, I am putting Capricorn fairly high on the actual personality list. Maybe it's because I am one, so I just understand, like where the flaws are coming from, the intentions behind everything. But yeah, I couldn't put my own sign too low on the list. Next, we've got Cancer. Cancer is my rising sign, and I do think people see me as this, so it's also accurate. I feel like I give off the quiet, nurturing vibe, but other people interpret the quietness as more like judgmental, intimidating. So those are the 2 opposite assumptions I get a lot. Shellfish are pretty fun to draw, I found. I've already done Scorpio for the next video, so this was kind of like the practice run before I did Scorpio. I like signs when they're represented by a real animal and when people kind of use that animal as a metaphor for their personality. I think that's really cute, and you can't do that with my sign. It's really cute. You can use a crab to describe some of the emotions, like, oh yeah, they can get emotional, and that's like taking out their little pinchers and attacking. You can't do that with Capricorn. I mean, what image are you gonna use? Like, oh yeah, they're hardworking, like a goat of the sea filing their taxes or whatever. One thing I don't like about the sign, though, is the name, because you can Google, like, Capricorn traits, but I feel like if you just Google Cancer traits, then you get different, much sadder things. Anyway, this was the second drawing I did, and I'm actually still pretty happy with it. I'll put it 3rd on the drawing list, and maybe 4th on the sign list. It's very in the middle for everything. Okay, we've made it to the last sign, which is Libra. This was attempt number 2 at drawing a person after the disappointment that was Virgo. It's been way too long since I've drawn people, and I've always had same face syndrome, but it feels really pronounced with the last few drawings I've done. Now, I decided to draw a person holding scales because literally everything else is alive, even if it's not a real thing. Cough, cough, sea goat again. And so it seemed weird to have all these animals and humans and creatures and then just like a scale, just a metal scale. I'm not sure the vibe I was really going for with her. Half really balanced and calm and all those Libra-esque traits, but Lady Justice was also a big inspiration of mine for this piece, so those kind of clashed. But overall, I do think this is an alright looking piece. Drawing people for the series just reminded me how much goes into creating a character whose appearance helps you learn more about what they're like. I started with Lady Justice, and I feel like I just didn't go much further. It's weird how much some people hate astrology, considering how harmless it is. I saw this article, though, about how astrology might act as a substitute for religion and spirituality, since astrology hasn't hurt anyone compared to, major religions, which don't have as clean of a slate. It also makes sense because the people who are really into astrology are more likely to be female and or queer, which I get since if you are in one of those groups, a lot of major religions don't treat you very nicely. In terms of how much I like this drawing, maybe I'll put it before Cancer, just because it is a big step up from Virgo, and I'm proud to have gotten a bit back into the groove. I also think the scale looks pretty cool. Personality-wise, I feel like I don't know that much about Libra, so maybe I will also put that 4th. Being balanced is something that I think I appreciate in a person. That was 6 of the signs of the zodiac drawn and ranked. Let me know if you agree with my ranking or disagree. Let me know about your own thoughts on the signs. And yeah, if you know how so few people are born on Christmas Day, because that confounds me. Anyway, thank you for watching.